I remember how much that weighs. All right.
Yeah, this is my private.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is the extended. I'm just find our.
Yeah.
So upsetting.
Alien pieces of legislation.
That's how I feel the conflict with my actions.
Yeah, maybe.
It's all from this guy. Mostly. You big author?
Not usually, but I did a lot of like studying the Constitution and bylaws and stuff like that this summer. So I saw different stuff I wanted to change.
Bring it to conversation.
Yeah.
I have like what?
Okay, I thought
Yeah.
You didn't care.
we have to go back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I can't remember my brain, but just okay. I'm here because you have it. Yeah. I feel like interesting.
Yeah, that's all right. Spanish.
Apparently broke.
Just
Apparently broke.
yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't understand how Trevor looks now. Yeah, Trevor looked like he was his mind. I couldn't see him. I know, but you know what? It's like I think I just and his clap has
Oh, and do you need me? I don't think so. Great. I'm sorry. No, that's all right. I'm like, you okay?
so much. I know. It's like he does not show. That's
Hello.
On Saturday on the.
Hold on.
disability check.
The,
You do kind of have a.
Okay, okay, cool. So I just mentioned.
Yeah, when we get to consent agenda, we can just come and talk in the mic, say, but. To the top.
Okay, okay. All right. So,
Yes, you just got a sexual assault.
what? What family? Did I hear that? Oh.
Your sandwiches are good. So it's a chicken. Why would you get that?
I'm missing something here.
Oh, I think there's one.
I'm pretty sure.
Third one. Wow.
Whatever, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Wow, it's technically like a regular Senate session. I am, yeah, we're pretty much ready. Meeting's going. Good, how are you?
Yeah. I have. Yeah, it's fine. With the discussions happening last week, it kind of sounded like it was good.
Oh my god. Yeah, I will.
Kind of intense, but it's all kind of died down.
Summer, and I was
Great,
like,
ready to go.
"Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that.
I want to shout out my dad. I don't know.
Yeah,
what happened.
definitely. Thank you. Good to see you.
Must have, okay, so we have,
Yeah, it's not like a long.
all the, everyone's
Yeah.
in the meeting.
I like, is this
Like this, I mean, we've had people popping in, we've got the agenda up. I'm gonna pull up things as they come because who knows where we get to, and we're gonna have the, guest speakers, so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, you want the, plan?
Oh, I just want that. Yeah.
I hope so.
I really.
I really, and I hope you get to talk a little more, it's like, or something. Like, I'm trying to get a lot of people where it is. Yeah. What's the career?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, have you done something?
I think we're ready.
Um.
Hello and welcome to the fifth session of the 54th Senate of ASCSU. To begin, please stand and join me at the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move into the land acknowledgements.
Oh.
We will now move into the swearing in of new senators and associates, so if that is you, make them down.
My gosh, this is so exciting. There's so many people. Okay, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joseph Markel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
and will rightfully perform the duties of my office
and will rightfully perform the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
We'll now move into the beginning roll call.
Okay, so first, one thing about placards, front desk has been noticing that the placards have been like printed out, but then going missing, and it seems like some have been printed and the owner has it or have never gotten them. So just from here on out, if you've never received a placard to begin with, because you have just been sworn in, or yours has been lost, everyone will get one placard. So, please sign up here if you need a new placard, but from here on out, just one more. And with that, oh, also if you're just sworn in, when you put your name on here, you will also be added to the list. So, Speaker Taylor,
Present.
Speaker Pro Tem Reese, present. Parliamentarian Camper, present. Chair Lutz, Chair Miller, present. Chair Myers,
Here.
Chair Basie, Chair Frisky, present. Chair Bucknor, Chair Davis, here. Senator Luna, here. Senator Bogard, Senator Bouchel, present. Senator Melchior,
Present on Zoom.
Senator Monanti,
Here.
Senator Yankowski, Associate Senator Young, Senator Pickerel, Senator Laura Pardo,
Here.
Associate Senator Hernandez, Senator Salazar,
Present.
Senator Yoslin Rivera,
Present.
Senator Evelyn Rivera, Senator Sandoval, Senator Johnson, Senator Isaacs,
Present.
Senator Gunsell,
Here.
and Senator McLaughlin,
Present.
and Senator Alvarez. Here.
We will now move into the consent agenda. Do I see any dissent to the agenda?
If everyone is okay with it, I motion to move LSAB, or the LSAB Lex, which is 5414 to the top of the confidence business.
Do I see any dissent to that motion? Okay, then that change will be shown on the agenda.
Thank you.
We'll now move into gallery input. Do we have anybody in the gallery who wishes to speak at this time? Seeing none, we can move into the guest speaker. I would invite you all to come down.
Give us just a second because we're gonna. Sorry. No, just give me 1 second. Get this changed to the agenda really fast. Oh, sorry. What? Sure. So just not the regular present button. I'm just gonna. Pass this on to you. You want me to use this one? Yes, please. Or you can use this one if you. Actually, I'll use it. Can you hear me? It takes a second. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Okay, thank you. My name is Michelle Stevens. I am working with the City of Fort Collins and CSU on, as well as transport on this project. And I do appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak on the West Elizabeth Corridor BRT project.
Just be your clicker.
Okay. Go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
So just the first, some of you may not know what BRT means, bus rapid transit. It's a high quality bus-based transit system that delivers fast as well as reliable bus service. So that's why it's called BRT. It's very similar to the MAX bus route that you see on the Mesa corridor. So it's very similar to what you see that. It's just be east-west instead of north-south. So along this corridor, we'll start the Foothills Transit Center that we'll be proposing, and that's near the CSU campus for the Foothills. And then it will travel along West Elizabeth and then through the CSU campus and Transit Center, and then it will connect to MAX on the east side. Next slide. Okay. If you have been along the West Elizabeth corridor, you probably identified some of these observed deficiencies. There is a lack of sidewalks and bike lanes. They're very inconsistent. There's also insufficient capacity for buses. And then you have unreliable and infrequent and sometimes overloaded buses. So that's something that we're looking at and want to help solve those deficiencies along that corridor. Next slide, please.
No, I can. There we go.
Some of the other goals that we're looking at is improving safety. This includes configuring the multimodal facilities to increase that user comfort as you're biking or walking along. And also
Increase equitable access. Also looking at implementing complete ADA accessible sidewalks. And we're also looking at moving people more efficiently by adding the significant capacity on the transit. And that includes that BRT providing reliable service for the students, faculty, and users of that corridor. And it will also accommodate the demand for transit, which is serve 1.1 million annual ridership existing along the 4 routes that are along this corridor. Next. So this is a cross section that kind of shows what most of the corridor will look like, starting with the raised bike lanes that are separated from the roadway, and also raised sidewalks. So this is a little different than the one that I sent after this. So this is what we had previously been looked at, but we have now separated the bike lanes so they're even farther from the roadway. Now we have the tree lawn is between the roadway and the bikes and the pedestrians. So that has actually shifted since this cross section was developed. And so now you're even further away. And we also have the sidewalks that are separated so that kind of similar to what you see on campus where you have the bike lanes and sidewalks adjacent to each other. And then we'll have 1 lane in each direction. So that's also a change on here. And it will also have buses and vehicles that will be on that. And then it's separated by a median within the that separates the 2 lanes. This is an artistic rendering that kind of shows what's going to happen at Overland Trail at that roundabout. This is going to be decorative in the middle to make sure people are not looking through the roundabout, but around the roundabout. And in the upper kind of right side of that screen is where the Foothills Transit Center. So this is just a rendering kind of showing what that could look like once it's constructed. Next slide. So this is going to be a unique type of roundabout. We're calling it a protected roundabout because not only can pedestrians and vehicles have their own lane, bikes will also have their own lane. And so, and there's only a few in the US right now. This will be like one of the fourth or fifth ones in the US. And the green crosswalks that you see in the picture, that is where the bikes would cross. Where the white crosswalks striping you see is that's where all the pedestrians would cross. And then the vehicles would use the pedestrian pavement in the area. Next slide, please. So with the transit that we have along the corridor, it'll be very similar to Max in that we'll have those shelters and transit stops along the corridor. With the shelters, they'll have the visitor information at the information kiosk. They'll have the next bus information display. It will have cameras, loudspeakers, as well as your emergency call box. And then this is another rendering that kind of shows what these could look like. The one on the left is the skyline area, and then the one on the right is the city park area, a little bit more urban in that area. We're also going to have protected signalized intersections. This one shows Constitution Avenue. Again, the same kind of concept. You're going to have separate facilities for your bikes, your pedestrians, as well as your vehicles, including buses. So the green crosswalks are going to be where the bikes cross. The white is where the pedestrian and people cross, and then the pavement will be where the bikes, the buses, and the cars will travel. So this is just a rendering of what that shelter could look like. This is like one that could be along Plum. And it kind of shows the artistic and aesthetically pleasing that we want to kind of show, similar to what you see along Max. And then we also have a roundabout that we'll be placing in Plum and Meridian. We will also have landscaping and some railing to really direct the people that are crossing to those crosswalks, trying to have safe crossings at that intersection. So we're going to be at the Open Streets. I don't know if everyone's heard about the Open Streets this Sunday, the 15th from 10 to 3. We're going to have our artists that we are working with on the project with part of the Art in Public Places program. And so then again, that's Sunday, September 15th from 10 to 3. We will be located at West Elizabeth and Shields. So they're actually closing down Shields for this event. So then this is a location where we'll have a lot more information about the project, as well as meeting the artist Mark, who we're working with. He's got a really interesting sculpture that he's been working on for that center, that Overland Protected Roundabout. He's also looking at really unique type of bike racks, and he's really helping us with that back screen for the shelter. And he's got the idea that the screen will have like a narrowing of the grid as you are on the east side of the project, on the east side of the grid, and then as you move along the corridor, it'll gradually transition so that it's narrower on the west side, so you'll know you're on the west side of the corridor. So that's kind of a unique concept that he's come up with. And CSU and the city have really been successful in getting grant funding. They did receive a RAISE grant from the Federal Transit Authority, and that's for the construction of that Foothills Transit Center and the Overland Trail Protected Roundabout that I kind of showed in that first rendering. We're also pursuing an FTA grant for the rest of the corridor for construction. We did submit that in end of August, and we hope to hear back early 2025 if we get that funding. So that will really help offset and get the construction of that a little faster. And then speaking of faster, we're looking at timeline. So we did come up with this overall concept for the corridor back in 2016 as part of the enhanced corridor plan. And then in 2022, we completed a 30% level of design to really flesh out all these improvements along the corridor. And then in 2023, we started design and we just submitted in June of 2024 the 60% level, further refining those improvements along the corridor and getting feedback from the agencies. And then we plan to complete 100% design by the end of 2025, hopefully in time for the funding. And then construction will begin in 2026 if we do get the funding like we are hoping. So thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have.
I'm just curious, I wonder what's the difference between this one and then like the max?
Well, the max, of course, goes north-south, and this one will go east-west. So that's kind of, it'll connect into max. So that way it's kind of a similar kind of concept. And I know the city has other corridors that they're looking at as well. So we're just trying to provide more connectivity so that you have more reliable service for transit. So people want to get out of their cars and use transit and just going to help the environment. So I'll start with you.
That's cool, I didn't know that about that.
Oh, sure.
Hi, thank you for coming in today. It's all very interesting, but it kind of just, tell me if I'm going crazy, but I feel like there's construction every road in Fort Collins, like every turn. I'm just curious how this is going to affect just like traffic, like when this starts construction, how this is going to affect the flow of traffic in Fort Collins, and I don't know, ways to kind of mitigate that potentially.
That is a very good question, and that is something that, as part of our 60% design, we did submit some information on that. We will look at working with a contractor. We're considering maybe looking at a way to get a contractor on board a little sooner, and they can really help with that, because typically when you bid out a project, you provide a suggested plan, and then the contractor actually gets to do the plan that they want to do. But we try to get a really good plan that works well so that they will be able to use that during construction. But yeah, it is always difficult when you're working a tight corridor to kind of construct it so that you keep traffic and bikes and people moving, but also trying to actually, build the thing. So we do have some underground facilities, we have water lines, other facilities, that storm lines that we have to build. And so, yeah, you have to go down, which does take a little bit more room. So we are looking at that. And as we get closer to 90% design and 100% design, we'll be able to flush that a little bit more to really understand how we can make it a minimal impact too. But there will be some pain, I guess, but we'll try to minimize that.
My only question was if this will utilize the pre-existing bus stops or if we're proposing new stops.
I believe we're proposing new stops, but we do have them segmented at certain population locations. A large study went into identifying what makes the best routing for the corridor to best serve the public that are using the corridor and the students at CSU. So that went through a study process, and it is located based on that. I'll start with you first, and then I'll go with you.
Thanks so much for being here. My question is, like, I've noticed in Fort Collins, there's a lot of issues with like bikers and pedestrians. Like, I've almost been hit many times, and I'm wondering with like the construction of this, if you have like any ideas in mind or like keep something like that from happening, or if you just have like, I'm just trying to figure out like how this can be constructed, if it can be constructed in a way to like protect both bikers and pedestrians.
Yeah, when we do our construction phasing plans, we also look at how we detour bike lanes and pedestrians so that there's still travel along that way. So one of my projects, we had even in the winter, we knew that people were using that corridor for biking, so we made sure we had a separate bike corridor and detour during the winter season, even though we're constructing stuff.
I apologize if you stated it prior, but I noticed the anticipated date of starting construction is 2026. Does the city have an anticipated end date?
They're looking around 2028 to be operational. Again, it's based on funding. If we get all the funding for the entire corridor, that would be kind of the time frame. Again, we're building the western side first, so that will be operational first, and then as we get more funding, we'll be able to keep going west or keep going east on that.
2028.
But we do have construction funding for those pieces to the west. We do have construction for that.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you first for coming in here for your presentation. I really think this is a great idea because I'm a commuter student. I live in Loveland, and so every day I have to take the MAX. And so I just really think that this is a great plan. One of the questions I have for you is regarding like fares, because I know on the MAX for this year, and I think last year as well, it remained free. So is that going to be the same kind of deal with this new plan?
Right now we are not building a fare system with the corridor, but that doesn't mean that it might not come in place later. But right now we don't have that in our plans to have a fare collection system with the BRT right now. But that could change. So.
Thank you so much for being here. You gave a wonderful presentation. It was very informative. I'm a huge lover of public transport. Oh my god. And my question is, I know you laid out like funding and getting funding. Is CSU going to contribute any money towards this, or how is that working?
Aaron, do you want to answer that one? So Aaron's helping us. He's with CSU and helping us with
Hey, how's it going? We're working that out right now, actually. It's discussions between the president of the university and the city manager for Fort Collins. So, I probably imagine this comes with a fairly large ticket. So, as the consultant shared, we have funding for the West End, right? And that was a collaborative grant that we used. And there are the grant that they're applying for requires match. And so you don't pay for the whole thing. You have a requirement, like you pay for, if the minimum for this grant is 20%, the local community has to raise, and then you can overmatch to try to improve your chances of receiving that funding. So right now the university and the city are trying to work that out. Some forms of match, cash is obviously one form of match. Land value is another one. So the Foothills Transit Center was delivered with CSU land match, meaning the university allowed the city to use that land to run the transit center for a period of time, a duration of time, which is usually pretty long. It'll probably be like 100 years. So that value then gets locked into the corridor and reduces the amount of match that you need to come up with in cash. So there are other ways to bring value to raise that match. So we're close. They're through the 60% design, like they mentioned, and I'm sure you all will be the first to hear once we figure out how we're going to pay for this.
Thank you.
So does this project include separated bike lanes from Shields to Overland?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Would you consider extending it past college like that way, or is that?
We are going along Plum, so once we go from Overland Trail all the way along West Elizabeth till we get to Shields, then we go up Shields and then go to Plum, and then we take Plum all the way over to the transit center that you have in CSU, and then it comes up to Myrtle, and then goes over to the Max bus from there. So anyone from this? Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time. There's some little bike keychains back in the back. I bought you, so if anyone wants one.
Thank you so much for coming in and doing this today. Senate will now move into executive reports. Do we have anybody in executive that wants to speak?
Everyone, those bike keychains are really cool. Looks like they're all gone right now, actually. I don't really have a lot for you today. I just wanted to mention that there's some really cool opportunities if you have some time on your hands, which I'm sure you probably don't have much of. But if you're interested, most of these time commitments are meetings once a month, typically for about an hour. But these are faculty council committees that really deal with a lot of university changes that get brought forward, and it's a really unique opportunity because a lot of the time you're one of the few students on those committees, and so they kind of look to you to be the student representation for really the 33,000 people that are here. So it's a really cool opportunity to dig into some of the other higher level work that the university does. And so if you're interested in any of these positions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm in the office most of the time, but if you need to reach me through email, it's ASCSU_president at College State. The committees that I could appoint students to have undergraduate and graduate positions. So if you know of graduate students that would be maybe perhaps interested in this, direct them my way as well. But there's the Committee on IT, the Committee on Intercollegiate Athletics, Committee on Libraries, the committee that deals with non-tenure track faculty. That's largely the pool of professors that actually do the teaching rather than the research. So decisions that affect them are really important because that directly affects students. Strategic and financial planning, this committee meets every other week, and so it's kind of more of a time commitment than the other ones. The Committee on Teaching and Learning, the Committee on University Programs, this is a much lower time commitment than the other committees. The Committee on University Programs meets twice a semester. And then lastly, the University Curriculum Committee, that meets the most frequently, typically about once a week. And so if you have some more time on your hands, I'm sure that in that committee you dig into a lot of kind of the issues that students probably see more so directly, dealing with curriculum and some of the things that are being taught in regard to. I know there's kind of a movement now to incorporate some of the themes that we've talked about, like the thematic year of democracy, incorporating some type of civic engagement into core curriculum. So I'm sure the University Curriculum Committee will be exploring some of those options. So again, if you're interested in any of those, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's also to say that if any of you have any questions about writing legislation or anything ASCSU related, again, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to serve as a resource for you in any of the projects that you want to see through. Sometimes jumping through the hoops of getting anything done at CSU is very difficult. So more than happy to help you with that, or if I don't really have that area of expertise, directing you to one of the members of my cabinet to assist you further in that. Thank you, Senate. I appreciate you for taking the time to be here, and that's all I have to report.
No, you're okay. Hello, if we have not already met, my name is Ava Wilkins, and I'm the current Director of Governmental Affairs here. So I just kind of wanted to let you all in on what we're doing so we can all become more involved together. Obviously, last night was the debate, which we had a little watch party for, so that was really fun. But we're really working on voter registration. Obviously, this is a really critical election, and getting students ready to vote, registered. Next Tuesday is National Voter Registration Day, so we're going to be having a lot of fun on the plaza. We're also going to be working on coordinating with the dining halls to set up voter registration drives in the dining halls to try to get a lot of the freshmen, especially out of state, who don't realize that they can vote in Colorado. The other thing, if you have not seen it, today is the last day. We are having a little competition between our student government and CU about who can get the most students registered to vote, check their registration, volunteer. It is all on our Instagram. But today is the last day and we were losing. So please get on that, send that out to your friends, make sure that we do that because we're announcing it at halftime at our game and it's going to be really embarrassing if we lost and we have to announce it on our stadium. So make sure you get in on that. If you need more information, you can reach out to me. Oh, is this the QR code? Oh my gosh, there's a QR code to get in on it. Can I set it here? Well, so anyways, please come up, scan that, make sure that you are ready to go. And then on top of voter registration, there's also a large community of our students who are ineligible to vote or feel frustrated by, the candidates that we currently have. So we're also working to do civic engagement that's more than just voting. I'm working with Vlad, your amazing senator, specifically with the undocumented community and also with our director of DEI to partner on how we can really have civic engagement that goes farther than just voting. So that was kind of that. My last little spiel is we are also getting the LSAB board up and running, which I know we just had legislation on that and we'll be introducing more today. But if you do not know, it's our Legislative Strategic Advisory Board, and we really guide legislation at the state level. We work with our lobbyists who are really instrumental in overturning the U+2 ban. So if you want to be involved in that, we need 3 legislative members, 3 exec, and then 4 non-ASCSU members. So please reach out to me. I'm working, Manny, one of my deputies, raise your hand. Manny is really heading up a lot of that. So please reach out to me, Manny, Hayden, about if you're interested, how you can become involved. That was all I had. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Johnson. I am the Deputy Director of Basic Needs, working under the fabulous Georgia White. I have some wonderful little updates for y'all this week. I just wanted to thank everyone who participated in the harm reduction event. That was 2 Thursdays ago. We passed out drink covers as well as testing strips for Rufinol, making sure people are staying safe when they're going out to Ramband, and we want to continue that as well throughout the school year. So if y'all are interested in that, please let me know. We also have been partnering with Gov Affairs to be able to provide drink covers in bars during high traffic times. So we want to be able to provide that for anyone going out to just feel safe. Second is the pocket pantries. If anyone has any ideas, anything that they'd like to see, we're going to be having culturally competent and allergy sensitive items, and we would love to know what you want to see. We want to hear from y'all directly. So if you have any interest in that, please let me know. And most exciting, we are having Wellness Wonderland on September 20th. Yes, I'm getting some, yes, okay, I love it. Wellness Wonderland is going to be with a bunch of student orgs promoting wellness and health throughout the student body, giving people resources and accessible things right on the plaza, right outside. The plaza will be filled with so many different tables, just full of resources for students. So we do need help. Whatever that means for you, you can dedicate even 30 minutes of your Friday on September 20th. That would be fabulous. Or if you know anyone who can, that would be amazing. I'm going to be passing out some QR codes if you are available, or you can just scan it and just keep it. Just keep that in mind. And most importantly, Sam Hutton, can you please stand? Please stand. My former Air Academy High School alum. This is his last night as a collegiate reporter for the ASCSU beat for the last 2 years. He has sat and heard all of y'all argue. He stayed here to the very end, and I want to spread the utmost appreciation for him and the work that he's done. He has, yes. I'm not going to keep bragging about him. He has done lots of ASCSU events. He's done 2 elections, and he has been the longest standing collegiate reporter for ASCSU. Do not worry, Sam is so amazing that he's getting promoted. He already has been promoted. He's going to be doing so much more work for us, but I just want to take this time to recognize him and the incredible work. So can we all please give Sam Hutton an amazing round of applause? Thank y'all.
We will now move into judicial reports. Do I have anybody in judicial who wants to speak? Yeah. Then we'll move into legislative reports, beginning with officers. So I guess I can begin with that. Today I wanted to switch it up and just do something a little bit different. So in remembrance of 9/11 and thousands of people who have lost their lives in the 9/11 attacks, and the many families who have been impacted both directly and indirectly since then, I thought I would ask you all to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak? Yeah, go ahead.
These have not been easy times in this last week. The CSU community has been irreparably hurt, and this isn't the first time. ASCSU is a governing body, so for those who are here who don't know, we don't get to just put out a statement. Senate has to pass a resolution to take a stance on anything. And in this instance, I find this to be insufficient. I am here right now to make this abundantly clear that in the meantime, while we combine multiple resolutions that have been written and take the time to be intentional, that I will go ahead and do something controversial and speak on the behalf of ASCSU. We condemn racism and the complacency in racism. All acts of discriminatory harassment, hate speech, and racialized violence. We are an organization that has a complex duty to all students, and that makes our work really difficult when it comes to controversial issues. Right now, we have a duty to center the needs of those who are the most vulnerable and the most impacted. When we take that approach, we end up inevitably uplifting all students. I don't think it's really my job to get up here and speak on the behalf of ASCSU, but I think that in saying that we condemn racism, if anyone here has a problem with that, go right ahead and file a complaint against me. I think that we don't have the opportunity to pass legislation tonight, but we do have an opportunity to use our time and our voice and our platform to make it really, really clear, especially when we are an organization that has been historically predominantly white and has silenced the voices of many people who otherwise don't get a chance to speak up. So this has been a rough time for us, and unfortunately we're a little more divided this week than we were last week. But I hope that we can take a stand that these behaviors and the resulting uptick of violence that happens when there's incidents on campus, I hope that we can move past that and support each other's rights. That's all I have tonight.
Cool thing to follow. So I just want to reiterate, there's a new onboarding process. So if you're new, make sure you come to the front, get to talk to me. You also get to sign Cindy's cool paper, just so that we can get you into your onboarding meeting as soon as possible, have you as informed as possible. Yeah, she covered placards. Office hours, we're gonna start recording them soon, get into good office hours habits, all that fun stuff. And there will be more on that as well soon. Thank you all.
Alright, people. If you steal a pen from up here, that's not cool. If you steal your placard, that's not cool. You're making the front desk life harder. That's not cool. Okay, thank you. Moving into committee and caucus reports, beginning with chairperson.
All right, folks. I have some family stuff going on, so last week just didn't happen. So this week, or no, wait. No, okay, Monday or Tuesday, we are gonna have the first meeting of the caucus. And it's gonna happen. So please reach out to me if you're like, hey, I really want to come, but a Monday works, but Tuesday doesn't, or whatever it is. Please reach out to me. Also, as the chair for the Women's and Social Justice Caucus, I think it's important to also echo the harm that has happened on this campus in the past week, and to be standing in full support and solidarity with the people of color on this campus, the Black community, and also the undocumented community. So there is a lot going on. So please make sure that you are all staying up to date on that, and also practicing best anti-racist actions and advocating for everyone. So, yeah.
Chair Davis.
Housing caucus is really, really cool. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of the things that we've been doing because I see the same people every single week and I love them. They're awesome for coming. But I think that it's really important for caucuses and committees and just everything to have new people, new projects, new ideas, perspectives. And so when you come to Housing Caucus, it's more helpful just by having your presence there because you can promote that. So Housing Caucus has been working on two main projects recently. The first one and we met over the summer, so this all happened over the summer. So we are establishing an affordability report, which is essentially a report document that will be accessible to students that just shows what it's like to live in Fort Collins, to show how affordable it actually is, what it costs to be a human being, and to pay rent, buy food, transportation, any and all of that. And so that's something that we're working on. We're in the process of doing that, and I will provide updates. But if you guys are interested in that, not this Friday, but next Friday, we're going to get an update from the person who's working on that the most, who's taking the lead. So if you want to hear about it, you should come. Also, we are working on a lot of things around Prospect Plaza, and so that is the main, our main project right now. So if you guys are interested in that, also please reach out. We'll be talking about it a lot this coming Friday. We meet Fridays 9 to 10 a.m. And yeah, please show up.
Chair Meyer.
DEI committee met yesterday. We meet from 1 to 2 every Tuesday. It's a blast. There's so many people that show up to committee. You're missing out on such a party. We saw 2 pieces of legislation. Lex 5406, amending the timing of the vote of confidence. We made no edits to that. And then Lex 5411, making ASCSU elections more accessible for students. We did not make any edits to that, but we did sponsor it. We also elected Amika as our vice chair, so round of applause for Amika. And then as the DEI chair in this space, I feel it's necessary to reflect the sentiments of Parliamentarian Hamburg and Chair Frisky. I denounce racism in all forms. I am the author of one of the resolutions that will be coming forth in the next few weeks, so be on the lookout for that. Please would love your feedback. It's in teams. And please be an active bystander on campus. It is so important now more than ever. If you see something, say something, and rants take care of rants. I yield.
Chair Miller.
Hi, University Affairs met last Thursday at noon. We saw 5 pieces of legislation. We saw Lex 5405, removing an outdated position from the ASCSU Constitution, Lex 5406, amending the timing of the vote of confidence. Lex 5410, the elections Lex, Lex 5411, making ASCSU elections more accessible for students, and Lex 5413, amending the method of appointing LSAT members. we made edits to 5410, 5411, and 5413. We endorsed both 5410 and 5413. And we made an edit from on 5411 to change 2,000 students needed to get stuff onto the ballot to 1,000. Yeah, come to committee. Super cool. I'm considering changing committee times from 12 to 12:30. Would love your feedback on that. I would love to see all of you there. There may be Capri Suns. I yield.
Chair Casey.
Hey y'all, I just wanted to say I'll be holding the budgetary committee 4 to 5 on Monday. So if you want to come and talk about the budget and any changes you want to see, I'd love to hear it then. So how you?
Thank you. Moving now to Senator and Associate Senator report. Senator Navarrete.
Hi, y'all. So, gotta speak as the senator for fact, but yeah, I do condemn racism. Racism is not cool in the words of something. But yeah, no, Rams do take care of Rams, and in these very trying and troubling times, do keep in mind your fellow constituents because you represent everyone. Like you might not think it, but you do. And I think it's important to remember that the impact, the actions that are done, the impact that has happened, regardless, always will affect someone that you might know personally, maybe you might not, but it's important to have that empathy and be able to be supportive and kind and provide that support for your fellow Rams. Because Rams mean take care of Rams should mean something. Besides that, we have a scavenger hunt this Thursday from 5 to, I forget the time when it is. So we'll be meeting up in the back office, fun little scavenger hunt around campus, and then every Tuesday we'll be having Real Talk at 4 p.m. in the back office as well. We'll be talking about various different topics. I don't currently know the topic for next Tuesday because I can't make that time, unfortunately, because I'm working. But it's fun. It's a good way to get into conversations about very interesting details about being Black and other intersecting identities, as well as what that may look like to be a supportive person. All right, I yield my time.
Thank you. Senator Warren.
Hello everyone. I come here today as obviously as a senator, but not only representing my community, but standing with my community, the undocumented community. We put up a banner, and a group of students put up a banner, and it was taken down. The banner was a moment for the undocumented community speaking out to CSU. I will now describe this banner. And its meaning so you guys can understand where my community is coming from. The words say, our presence in higher education is a right, not a privilege. There is an unidentified shadow in the middle because that symbolizes that undocumented people can come literally from everywhere. It's not just Latinos or Latinas or Latinx individuals. The monarch butterflies represent migration, and the chain surrounding the poster represented that we are here to stay. I know that the intention wasn't to harm the undocumented community, but it had an impact. It had a really big impact. We are hurt because we felt silenced. We felt like we were shoved to the side once again, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed at the university level. This is a list of asks. We want there to be a resolution to make the current USS position a permanent position. Right now it is a 2-year position, I think. And that basically is the person that guides undocumented students throughout their academic journey. Our academic journey does not end in 2 years. So that position needs to be made a permanent position. We also asked for you guys to provide scholarships for specifically undocumented students in order to make our academic journey significantly less stressful. There's currently very few scholarships offered to the undocumented community because majority of them require a social security number or require you to be a US citizen. And these scholarships need to be public. We're tired of being hidden. We're tired of our resources having to be a situation of if you know, you know. We all deserve representation. We also want more funding for Rams Against Hunger. We need more meal swipes for first generation and undocumented students. With the election, immigration is being dragged through the mud. This is significantly impacting the way that the undocumented community is viewed. I don't care, left, right, I don't care. It's both areas are saying very hurtful things about the immigrant community, and it's impacting the way that we are seen. We're beginning to be seen as criminals because everyone hates, and I'm tired. I should feel safe on campus. My community should feel safe on campus. I should be walking these grounds and not feel like I'm going to be deported for the next 10 minutes, and my university is going to do nothing about it. So with the upcoming election, I want there to be action. I want, if things go south, I want there to be mental health services specifically for undocumented individuals. Even if things don't go south, we need support. We need to be supported. Our mental health needs to be supported, and we need to be seen. We aren't just illegal aliens. That's dehumanizing, and I never want to hear anyone in this space describe us like that. We are undocumented individuals, and we are human. We deserve to be heard. The banner was put on the stump because it was a moment of freedom of speech. This moment was us protesting and letting CSU know that we need more support and we need more resources as a community. Because we cannot be seen, but we should be heard. If we are seen, there's a risk of deportation. Me, right now, sitting here, saying that I'm undocumented and representing my community, I'm at risk of deportation. My mom texted me this because I told her about the banner. She goes, "Perdón que te hayamos tomado la decisión de haberte traído a este país, hijo, y tengas que pagar consecuencias. Te pido perdón, pensé que era lo mejor en ese momento." It says, "I'm sorry, son, that we made the decision to bring you to this country, and that you have to pay the consequences. Please, I ask for forgiveness. I thought it was what was best at the time. I'm not the only undocumented student on campus. Our job as ASCSU is to represent the whole student body. And I know that the undocumented community is a very political issue, but we are part of the student body, all 136 of us. We are part of the student body, and we deserve to be represented. We deserve to feel safe, and we deserve to feel safe in these spaces. I shouldn't have to worry if my university supports me or not. It needs to be made public that CSU supports undocumented students because they take a lot of pride in diversity. They take a lot of pride in inclusion, and they take a lot of pride in being a safe space for undocumented students. I don't need your sympathy. I don't need your empathy. I need action. I need all of us to work together and conclude to a yes. I need this to be a win-win scenario for both parties because we are tired and we are in danger and nothing is being done. Thank you.
Chair for Steve.
That was incredibly beautiful and moving. We're gonna be tabling. That's all I'm gonna say. At the Safe Center for the Wellness Wonderland. So
Actually, I will say though, the Safe Center does have resources for undocumented students who go through sexual violence or anything like that. And I will also be looking into more that we can do because we all should learn to take care of ourselves.
Senator Luna.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that we're going to take care of it, but also we're going to take action, especially with what's happened in the past couple of weeks, but also looking ahead to this weekend. We're still technically in the red zone, I'm pretty sure, and it just heightens as soon as we get into Halloween, especially with the big game going on this weekend. It could just be very dangerous for individuals with identities that may be impacted. So just be aware of your situation, your surroundings, and also take care of each other. Take care of your mental health. There are a lot of resources on campus for you. Also, CDSA, which is the Committee for Disabled Students Accessibility, is looking for new members. As a part of CDSA, you'll create and review proposals to make campus more accessible for students, and also the Student Disability Center, the SDC, which I represent. We're looking for some associate senators. So if you know anyone who would probably be great in the position, you can go ahead and send them my way, or you can also message or tell them to email Justin, the director of the SDC, and you would do the same for CDSA. I'm gonna send a little message in a second. And then the last thing, Unique, the director of traditions, wanted me to give a little plug for Groom the Buffs, which is Friday from 4 to 6 at the Iron Fields. Also, we're looking for volunteers. So it's from 4 to 6, and it's a minimum of like a 1 hour commitment. But if you would like to volunteer, which thank you very much, you go ahead and email ASCSU_traditions at mail.collegestate.edu, and I'll send that in to the Senate chat. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize, I don't know your name.
It's Alvarez.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm going to speak on behalf of my fellow senator, Centro. This is Senator Josephine Rivera. And this is regarding the incident with the banner. So I'm just going to read this out for all of y'all. So it says, or she says, that the pain and struggles we are witnessing cannot continue. We must create safe, open spaces for students who are impacted to share their experience with us, both as senators and our student leaders. It is our responsibility to listen and take action. Together, we need to drive positive change at CSU. I hope here at ASCSU we can have a date where students can come in and speak about what is happening on campus. She also goes on to say that while I deeply regret not being able to say this in person, I hope this moment leads to real change. I am tired of seeing my community suffer and watching students as a whole be affected. And also on a personal note, with the change or with the incident that happened, I cannot agree more with her. I think what has happened is something that should have not been placed or something that should have not taken place at CSU. The amount of students that come here to want to strive for a better career, better future, and to be treated like that is really unacceptable. And I can just not agree more with what people have been saying tonight. And I really do hope that we do collaborate as a team, as ASCSU, and create a better change for everyone here.
Thank you. The Senate will now move into conference business with 2 hours on the conference clock, beginning with Lex 5414, the LSAT Lex.
Alright, I've never introduced legislation, so bear with me here on this process. But basically, these were really just some more technical changes. I know last week Hayden introduced a piece of legislation that was very similar. LSAB as a board is included within our ASCSU constitution, so this is a lex. Once again, it was changing Hayden to be so basically, do you want to?
Let me know.
No, you're good. I was just going to go right here. So the first part of this that we were changing is making sure that we have ASCSU president and ASCSU speaker were already included, but including 4 non-ASCSU members. I think this is really important in a board that guides our legislation to make sure that we're bringing in all of our student body. It's also a great gateway to ASCSU if you're nervous about entering a space in exec or in the Senate to kind of be a voting member on something and learn more information, but without committing. So that just provides a really good point of entry, and it's really just advocating for additional students. So we just kind of wanted to codify that. Like I said, this was already done last week in a lex by Hayden, but the Senate branch appointment shall be made by the Speaker and voted upon by the ASCSU Senate. So just a slight variation. It used to just be appointments made by the Senate and then appointments made by the ASCSU president. So kind of just making sure that those are both similar. In addition, it was ratified by the 5th week of the fall semester, which is next week. So that's just a very tight timeline, and LSAB really shines in the spring during the legislative session. So this just gives us a little bit more time to make sure that everything's up and running the way that we are, and we're not just rushing to fill it with random people, but that we're really gauging interest and making sure everyone's involved. Lastly, we just took out this part that after this amendment to the lex, we will also be revising the LSAB bylaws a little bit, and that needs to also be ratified by the Senate. And right now, as it stands, if the Senate did not approve the new bylaws, the whole board would be dissolved for the whole administration year. So I was a little bit shocked by that. So that would be struck out, and we would simply do as we do with failed legislation. We would regroup, talk about what we need to change, and come back again. And the board would still be able to operate. We would just change those bylaws and take feedback instead of dissolving the whole board. Does anyone have any questions about this or what this would look like? Yay.
No questions?
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Then this will be sent to Internal Affairs Committee and University Affairs Committee. We'll now move into the election of the Accessibility Caucus Chair. Do I see any nominations and self-nominations at this time? Seeing none, we will move into old business. I'll step out of the way.
Lex 5401, the creation of an ASCSU Senate Public Relations Officer. This Lex aims to create, fund, and define an ASCSU Senate Public Relations Officer to manage marketing of the Senate. Sorry, I didn't give you an introduction, Ava. Okay.
Okay, with that, did any committees make any edits to this bill that they'd like to present? Were there any edits made to this piece of legislation? Awesome. With that, we're going to go ahead and enter a period of discussion and debate. It'll be 10 minutes by the first raised placard. Chair Davis.
Oh, I guess this is more of a question, but I missed Q&A last time. What's the difference between this and like the regular ASCSU PR officer?
So, because this is discussion and debate and not Q&A, I don't think I can take that, although I'd be added
What
to
if
that.
it were like an intro to a discussion point?
If you will you just yield to me and I can
Yeah,
discuss?
I'll yield to you.
Okay. So, um, the difference, I guess, between this and the existing recruitment and retention officer is that the recruitment and retention officer that we have now is mostly focused on getting people involved in the space, uh, getting people to.
I believe Chair Davis was more so referring to the marketing and public relations officers within the executive cabinet.
Oh, an executive cabinet. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that would be. It would be a lot like that just in the Senate. So executive in the past, none of this, by the way, is to undermine anything that executive is doing or to go around the collegian who reports on the Senate every week. I think that they all do a fantastic job with what they do. But it would just be mostly giving a specific focus to the Senate, which has been lacking in the past, and have a focus on getting the message out about what we do in the Senate, because I think all of us would think that what we do is important and valuable, and so that getting that message out would be beneficial to students.
Cool. Because I guess what I was thinking was I was worried that they would clash a little bit, but that makes sense. And so that's cool.
Chair Frisky. Okay, I'm sorry if this already was answered too. I just have a question about like is there any overlap between like the job descriptions for the executive position and what this position would entail? I'll yield to you.
Okay, this is the last time I'm accepting this loophole because this is supposed to be discussion and debate, but I will take that question. That a lot of this is based on the job descriptions of executive marketing. When I made the job description of this position, because it is something new that hasn't been done, I took a lot out of executive job descriptions and a lot out of the Senate Officer of Recruitment and Retention. I just copied and pasted a lot of the points that I thought they would have in common into this position, so it would be a lot like that. And I yield back to you.
I guess, was there any opposition? Does anyone know of any opposition in the executive branch at all to this new position? I don't know how to do this. I'm assuming no. You're doing great. I'll speak on it a little bit because I remember us talking to Braxton a little bit about this. Initially, there were some conversations about it, like being an interbranch thing, the new position that they were creating. But in our conversation with Braxton, it seemed to be like mutually more beneficial for there to be a specific focus on Senate in terms of like membership and stuff. But also, I'm impartial, and I did say that. Okay, amazing. I yield my time. Awesome. Senator Green.
Okay, hi. So I'm just thinking that there's not really much of a difference between this and what the collegian does, and I'm wondering what the difference would be between this and like asking the collegian to have a specific role for someone to just cover the Senate, as the amazing job that our person back there does. I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. But it seems like that there's not. It seems kind of redundant in my opinion. I yield.
Thank you, Officer Kelly.
I just want to make it very clear. I do not do social media. I don't even have Instagram. So yeah, I yield.
Speaker Taylor.
speaking, I guess, to some of the questions and concerns that people seem to have with this. When I ran for my position, I had a focus on outreach and on messaging. And one of the things I focused a lot on was on social media. And I said often that I think it's a good way of having students know what the Senate is up to, and a good way of having students have the ability to be passively involved. During the campaign, I had some online students reach out to me who don't even live in the state of Colorado, and they said that they thought that was an excellent idea because that would be a way that they could be involved in ASCSU and kind of know what's going on in the student government beyond kind of what we have now. And so I had a specific focus on social media. And so ultimately, if this doesn't pass, that's kind of going to just get dumped onto recruitment and retention, and I don't want to do that. I yield.
Chair Frisky. I think that our social media has been lacking and that it's one of the best ways to reach students. So if we can optimize that in the best way possible, and if this is the way that we can optimize it, cool. I yield my time. You don't have a name placard. Senator Falbo.
I would just say that, yes, speaking on the social media outreach aspect, I argue that this position puts us on more equal footing with the executive branch because in the past, most ASCSU, since their director of marketing, public relations, and the like, kind of subsumes all ASCSU's business as well as executive business. So having a dedicated Senate officer for Senate business allows us to kind of carve out our own niche in the social media space. I yield.
Does anyone else have, Senator Green?
A point of clarification, can I see the name for like the position title?
I mean, like,
Do you mean like the job description or the literally
What's the
actual name of what it's called?
Okay, really quick, do you, maybe it should be called like the specifically like social media since that's what it's mainly for. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments? Senator Malcolm?
Yeah, I kind of have a quick comment. I think this is a great idea. Kind of like Senator Falbo said, I think this will put us on the same footing, and I think this is something that we need to grow to get more people in here. So I really like where this is headed. If you could put me down as an endorser, that'd be great. And then my other I can't ask a question. Just so you have it in your mind, and maybe you can tell me later on, but is this something that would be like elected this year, or is this kind of down the road? So that's all I got to say, and yeah, you.
Speaker Taylor?
Good timing. Yeah, so this would be something that would be elected soon after this is passed, I would hope. Second thing that I wanted to speak to also just with executive seems to be behind the idea of this. I will note that President DeSalvo is an endorsement on this piece of legislation. So not only does executive know about it, but they also support that. I yield.
disregard that.
Does anyone else have any other commentary on this piece of legislation? Also, with that, we'll be exiting a period of discussion and debate. And because this is a lax, it'll be sent to more committees. It'll be sent
to DEI and budgetary affairs.
Point of order. We have to vote on that.
What do we vote on? Oh, what?
So, as a Lex, constitutionally, that needs 2 consecutive 2/3 votes. And so, what will happen with this is we would vote on this tonight to continue this. And if, assuming that passes, it would be sent to committees again to be looked at and potentially edited. And then it would come back and we would vote on the final passage of this next week.
So scratch everything I just said. We're voting. I would entertain a motion to vote for this not by roll call. Senator Frisky, Chair Frisky. I motion to approve this moving on with unanimous consent. Can I do that? Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none, this passes. And this will be sent to DEI and budgetary affairs. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5402, amending an inconsistency for timing of a presidential veto in the ASCSU Constitution.
Lex 5402, amending an inconsistency for timing of a presidential veto in the ASCSU Constitution. This Lex aims to address an inconsistency in the ASCSU Constitution of the period of time after which a bill is considered vetoed.
Are there any committee chairs that want to present any edits made on this piece of legislation? Were there any edits made? Awesome. With that, we'll enter a 10-minute period of discussion debate. Chair Frisky. Very cool. Can I motion the previous question?
Do you voice vote?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any any abstentions? Hearing none, the yeas have it. This passes. We'll now be entering a period of.
That was to move to previous. Oh yeah. Okay. Never mind. Got it. Good.
Sorry guys, I'm tripping up a little more than usual. Senator Milk.
So I'm fine voting, but there's 4 of us in here who really don't know what this is. So I don't know if we can learn about it before voting, or if someone could describe it a little bit, just so this is their first time in the center. It'd be good if they know what they're voting on.
So for some clarification, this is a Lex, so it still has to go through committees one more time. So you guys will have the opportunity to go to committee, read the legislation, go through it. We're just voting on whether or not it'll pass into next week, and then we'll vote on its last voting.
You.
Chair Davis. Motion to approve this with unanimous consent. Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none. This passes and will be sent out to University Affairs.
Point of clarification, DEI hasn't seen this. Does it need to go through every committee?
No. So Lex does not need to go to all committees. Constitutionally, it doesn't say anything about that. The only regulation that we have with that is that it cannot be sent back to the same committee it was sent to, so it couldn't be sent to internal affairs 2 times. So it doesn't have to go to all of them, but some of them do.
Sounds good, thanks. I yield.
Sorry, what?
We'll now be moving on to Lex 5403, amending a typo in the ASCSU Constitution.
Alright, Lex 5403, amending a typo in the ASCSU Constitution. This Lex aims to amend a typo in the ASCSU Constitution.
Were there any edits made to this piece of legislation? Also, with that, we'll be entering a 10-minute period of discussion debate by the first raised placard. Senator Balbo.
I move the previous question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? With that, we'll be entering the period of voting. Senator Balbo.
Motion to have this approved via unanimous consent.
Do I hear, oh wait, do I hear any dissent? Hearing none. This passes and it'll be sent out to DEI. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5404, amending a series of errors in the Constitution.
Alright, Lex 5404, amending a series of errors in the Constitution. This bill aims to make the Constitution easier to understand by removing grammatical issues, inconsistencies, redundancies, etc.
I have a quick edit I would like to make to that. Can we make that say Lex instead of Bill?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, just kidding. Hold on. Why is that not doing it?
Senator Malka, did you still have?
Yeah, I think it's been a little while since I've been here, so I'm making sure I'm doing this right. But I'd like to make a motion to the previous question.
We haven't yet entered a period of discussion debate to motion to previous question.
Any thoughts on why that's not working? Yeah. Does anyone have an issue with this reflecting the track changes after the fact so that we can continue?
Cool. With that, we're going to enter a period of discussion debate by the first raised placard. Senator Minotti.
Reviving, I'm pretty sure we are fine to see this again in committee. Motion the previous question.
We'll go ahead and vote on that motion by voice vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? With that, we exit a period of debate and we're going to enter a period of voting. Chair Davis.
Motion to previous question.
No. Approve with unanimous consent. Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none, this passes and this will be sent out to University Affairs. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5405, removing an outdated position from the ASCSU.
This is frozen.
I know.
Nothing. Can I make a motion for requirement?
Senator Minolta.
A motion for a 5-minute recess with my elbow.
Do I hear a second to this motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? With that, the ayes have it, and we enter a 5-minute period of recess.
Unmuted, screen sharing, all is well.
I would imagine.
I'm so
Yeah, that's bad. Right here. Oh, no, you're not. Never mind. That's even us. Oh, yeah, that's me. How long is that?
Just to clarify,
That's what we got.
asking if they want to present edits to discussion, debate, to voting, to sending out on
I think three. I think three. Yeah.
I like your view.
I've heard about some of this, and you're just like, yeah, but
Okay, you're unmuted here. We're screen sharing again. We're gonna call everyone to their seats.
If everyone could return to their seats, that'd be lovely. We'll be starting up in just a minute.
Bang that thing. Yeah.
Moving to 54.
Lex 5405, removing an outdated position from the ASCSU Constitution. This Lex aims to remove an outdated position from the ASCSU Constitution.
University Affairs, were there any edits made to this legislation while it was in committee? Yeah. Can you repeat the question? Were there any edits made to this piece of legislation in committee? I don't think so. No. Awesome. With that, we'll go ahead and enter a period of discussion debate by the first raised placard. Valbo, Senator Valbo.
I suppose this might also fall under a point of clarification, but it's a small thing. And one controller who will oversee and maintain the ASCSU budget, that's crossed out. Is the ASCSU's budget, executive budget oversight devolved onto the Director of Finance? Yeah. Is control of the ASCSU executive budget devolved onto the Director of Finance?
Will you yield to me?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So we have an ASCSU accountant that manages the budget, and so that is kind of who does that now. I was talking some with executive about should we just replace the controller position with accountant, or should we just take it out completely? And it sounds like the two have like enough differences to just have it taken out. So that's what we decided to go with. And I yield back to you if you want.
And I yield myself.
Chair Davis? I think that is so awesome that we used to have a position called the controller. That's really funny. But yeah, it's not necessary. Motion to previous question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, we exit a period of discussion and debate, and we move on to voting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this with unanimous consent.
Do I hear any dissent? Seeing none, this is allowed to move on with unanimous consent and will be sent to Internal Affairs. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5406, amending the timing of the vote of confidence.
All right, Lex 5406, amending the timing of the vote of confidence. This Lex aims to clarify the timing of the vote of confidence for candidates for the position of Speaker of the Senate for increased transparency, accessibility, and efficient elections.
University affairs, were there any edits made to this piece of legislation?
No, there were not.
DEI.
There were no edits.
Also, with that, we'll be entering a period of discussion debate by the first raised placard. Chair Miles.
I think it's a good bill. I have no qualms. I motion the previous question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? With that, we exit a period of discussion and debate, and we'll be entering a period of voting. Senator Valbo.
I motion to have this approved via unanimous consent.
Do I hear any dissent? With that, this passes and will be sent out to internal affairs. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5410, the elections Lex.
For a point of information, it has not been released from committee, so nope.
We'll now be entering Lex 5411, making ASCSU elections more accessible for students.
All right, Brooke just read that, so I'm just going to read the abstract. This Lex aims to make ASCSU and its resources more accessible and available to the students of Colorado State University by amending the requirements for a ballot referendum.
Were there any edits made by University Affairs?
Yes, we changed 2,000 students to 1,000. The reasoning behind that being that 2,000 sounded like more unattainable versus 1,000 still makes it kind of difficult to do. But given that there's no time period these names have to be collected in, and the size of the smallest college being College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences is around 1,000 people, that is the number we decided on in discussion with Speaker Taylor.
Speaker Taylor, do you approve of the edits made by University Affairs?
I do.
DEI, were there any edits made?
There were not, but we did sponsor the legislation.
With that, we'll be entering a period of discussion debate by the first raised placard. Senator Valbo.
I like it, certain, as it was mentioned, it makes it tough but not impossible to get things done, and pretty much just modernizes us, pulls us forward a bit. And I'd also like to move the previous question, please.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and with that, this will be sent to internal affairs. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5412, amending the terms of office for ASCSU officials.
This Lex aims to establish consistency in the start and end dates of the terms of ASCSU officials.
University Affairs, were there any edits made to this piece of legislation?
No.
DEI, were there? Wait, sorry. Never mind. This was into internal affairs, and I knew that. With that, we'll be entering a period of discussion and debate by the first raised placard. Senator Valbo.
Once again, continue the trend of resolving any ambiguities in the Constitution, because to be honest, ambiguities is where chaos and dictators are made. So I like this act quite a lot, and I move the previous question.
Do I hear a second? Can I have a more passionate second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? With that, we'll exit a period of discussion, debate, and move into voting. Chair Lives.
I motion to approve this legislation via unanimous consent.
Do I hear any dissent to that motion? With that, this will go on to the University Affairs and DEI. We'll now be moving on to Lex 5413, amending the method of appointing LSAT members. This Lex 8 aims to amend the method of appointing voting members of the that's a typo, Legislative Strategy Advisory Board, is what it should read, as outlined in the Constitution for increased consistency. University Affairs, were there any edits into this piece of legislation?
No, however, we did endorse this legislation.
Awesome, thank you. With that, we'll be entering a period of discussion today about Thursday's placard. Senator McLaughlin.
I move to previous question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? With that, yes, we'll be entering a period of voting. Chair Davis.
Motion to approve this with unanimous consent.
Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none, this is approved with unanimous consent and will be sent out to DEI.
So all of new business now will not be seen because as the auditor, I will choose to pull Flex 5407, 8, 9, and Resolution 5402 until next week, pending some edits, and so that the other author can be in attendance on some of those. And Chair Lutz has chosen to pull Lex 5415 until next week, so that they can be in attendance to present that. So with that, we'll move into ending roll call. I would entertain a motion to use the gaming roll call as ending. I would like to make that motion. Does that have a second?
Yeah.
Second. Do I see any dissent to that motion? Okay. Well then, seeing nothing else, this meeting is adjourned, and I'll see you all next week.